standing strong and tall. Yeah, this is the bovine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made. Yeah, this is the bovine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made.
Welcome to the Bovine Podcast, your trusted source for timely insights and practical strategies in the dairy industry. Today, we explore the groundbreaking innovations and leadership of the 2025 World Dairy Expo winners, including the McCartys, Juan Moreno, and Jim Mulhern. You'll hear how these pioneers are shaping the future of dairy with tech, genetics, and policy reforms that matter. Stay tuned for expert advice and real-world takeaways to help your operation thrive.
Welcome back to the Bovine Podcast, the show that digs deep into the topics that matter to dairy producers.
That's right. Today, we're tackling a truly insightful feature article from the Bovine that's been generating a lot of buzz. We're going to break it all down piece by piece, really try to help you navigate some of the biggest challenges facing dairy today.
Absolutely. This deep dive is centered around an article titled Dairy's Vanguard, Innovation and Resilience from Expo Leaders. Our mission today is to unpack the incredible insights drawn from the 2025 World Dairy Expo award winners. We're talking the McCarty family, Juan Moreno, and Jim Mulhern.
Some heavy hitters there.
Definitely. And we want to understand not just how these individuals and operations are succeeding, but how they are actively shaping the future of dairy.
Right.
Providing what the article calls a roadmap for what dairy looks like when things get done right. And let's be honest, for many of you listening, this couldn't be more crucial right now.
Couldn't agree more.
We're seeing corn prices hover around, $4.85 bushel?
Yeah, roughly. And bean meal.
Soybean meal, climbing towards $400 a ton. I mean, input costs are just a constant pressure.
Relentless.
So finding efficiencies and forward-thinking strategies isn't just like a good idea. It's essential for survival and for growth.
Absolutely essential.
The author of this piece actually had these three distinct kind of serendipitous encounters at the expo that sparked this whole deep dive.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, suggesting there were some truly unique and maybe even counterintuitive strategies worth exploring here.
And that's precisely what makes this deep dive so compelling, I think. This isn't merely about celebrating three individual success stories or, handing out awards.
Right, it's deeper than that.
It's about extracting those replicable principles, the core ideas, the strategic frameworks behind their innovation, their commitment to sustainability, and even their approach to industry-wide policy reform.
Things anyone can potentially use.
Exactly. That can genuinely benefit any producer, regardless of their scale or where they are geographically. Why is this so vital now? Well, you're living it every day.
We hear it all the time. We're all navigating these intensifying environmental pressures, right?
Yeah.
A tightening labor market that makes finding and keeping good help incredibly difficult.
Oh, yeah. That's a huge one.
Ongoing market consolidation that keeps shifting the competitive landscape. Rapidly shifting consumer preferences, demanding more transparency, specific attributes.
Flexibility, sustainability.
All of it. And let's not forget, increasing climate variability that challenges, traditional farming practices.
It's a perfect storm, really.
It kind of is. So understanding these proactive strategies, learning how to anticipate and shape change rather than just, reacting to the next fire.
Putting out fires constantly.
Yeah, reacting to the next challenge is more vital than ever. So to really get into the nuts and bolts of this, we're going to cover three main areas from the article.
Okay.
First, the McCarty family's large-scale operational efficiency and their pretty groundbreaking approach to people management.
Okay, the McCartys first. Second, we'll dive into the cutting edge of genetic and feed technology with Juan Moreno.
Genetics and feed, got it.
And finally, we'll look at the often overlooked but incredibly important realm of industry policy through the lens of Jim Mulhern's extensive work.
Policy.
Right.
Often the least glamorous, but maybe the most impactful sometimes.
Could be. Consider these three pillars of a resilient and prosperous dairy future.
Okay, let's dive right into our first pillar of that roadmap then. Let's focus on what we're calling the McCarty method, redefining family dairy and operational efficiency.
That's good.
So when we talk about the McCarty family, these are folks recognized at World Dairy Expo, operating this I mean, truly impressive multi-state enterprise, milking a staggering 20,000 cows.
20,000, that's serious scale.
It really is. And get this, they're successfully bringing in their 5th generation into the business.
5th generation, wow.
Now, what's truly remarkable here and what the article really emphasizes is that stark contrast to conventional wisdom. Most family farms, as the stats sadly show, they struggle to make it past the 2nd generation.
It's a tough transition, very tough.
The McCartys aren't just defying that. They're absolutely shattering it. But honestly, the numbers that really grabbed my attention in the article weren't even the cow counts or the generations.
Oh, what was it?
It was their exceptional employee retention rates.
Ah, yes. That stood out to me too.
For an industry grappling with labor shortages and, crazy high turnover, that to me is the real aha moment.
Definitely.
It's an indicator of something really profound happening within their operations, something systemic.
And you are absolutely right to home in on that, because the significance of their employee retention, well, it just cannot be overstated.
Right.
In an industry notoriously plagued by high turnover, we often see rates, well above 20-30% annually, sometimes higher.
Easily.
The McCartys have achieved something truly foundational to their success. We're talking employees staying for 10, 15, even 25 years.
25 years. On a dairy.
Yeah. That's not just rare. It's almost unheard of for an operation of that size.
So how? What's the secret sauce?
Well, the article details their DIRT principles. That's D-I-R-T. Dedication, integrity, respect, teamwork.
Okay, DRT. Sounds a bit corporate.
It might sound like standard corporate values you'd find on a poster, in any boardroom.
Right. Wall art.
Exactly. But what's truly insightful is how the McCartys seem to operationalize them. It's not just words on a wall.
Okay, how so?
The article hints at this deeply embedded culture of internal mentorship. Senior employees actively training and empowering new hires.
So passing down the knowledge.
And fostering this collective ownership. It's not just about a paycheck. It seems they build a shared purpose. This creates a feedback loop where respect and teamwork, they naturally reduce friction, improve communication.
It ultimately boosts efficiency, I bet.
Precisely. For instance, the article specifically notes that most of their processing plant team, they've been with them since the facility opened back in 2012.
That's over a decade of the same core team.
Think about the cumulative effect of that dedication, 10, 15, 25 years. It compounds into this institutional knowledge base that's incredibly difficult for competitors to replicate.
Like an internal competitive advantage.
Totally. And if we connect this to the broader picture, research from, I think it was the University of Wisconsin Extension on dairy workforce management, it actually shows operations with stable long-term workforces exhibit between 18 and 23% better productivity metrics.
18 to 23%, that's massive.
It is. We're talking milk per cow, feed efficiency, animal health outcomes, better than operations constantly training new people.
So it's not just about being a nice place to work.
Not at all. This isn't just about being a good employer. It fundamentally underscores that investing in your human capital pays very measurable, very significant dividends to your bottom line.
Right.
Far beyond just saving on recruitment costs. It's a strategic business advantage, period.
It absolutely is. It's not just a feel-good story. It's deeply strategic. But look, for many listening, that level of employee retention, especially in this industry, it sounds almost mythical. Like how?
Yeah, it does seem almost too good to be true sometimes.
What specific elements from the article help explain how they sustain that kind of commitment beyond just the DRT acronym? Does it mention specific practices, benefits, training?
That's a critical question. While the article doesn't maybe lay out a full HR manual,
Right.
it strongly implies that the DART principles are backed by robust systems. For example, respect isn't just a word. The implication is that it translates into competitive wages, comprehensive benefits, clear pathways for advancement, real career potential.
Okay, so tangible benefits, not just talk.
Exactly. Teamwork likely means clearly defined roles, opportunities for cross-training, collaborative problem-solving environments, places where people feel safe contributing.
Psychological safety, yeah. Important.
And dedication seems to be reciprocated by the company actively investing in employee development, growing their skills.
A two-way street.
Precisely. The article also touches upon their transparent communication. Employees understand the why behind decisions, not just the what.
Context matters.
Hugely. This means less resistance to change, probably, because the team feels like part of the solution, not just cogs in a machine.
Right.
This continuous investment and clear communication are what transform those buzzwords into lived values, cementing that long-term commitment.
That makes perfect sense. They've really built a culture where the principles are embodied. Okay, and speaking of strategic innovation, let's talk about their on-farm processing plant.
Oh, yeah, this part is fascinating.
This is where things get really intriguing, maybe even a little bit mind-bending. When I first read about their processing facility and the claim from Ken McCarty that they're processing 2.2 million pounds of milk daily.
2.2 million pounds daily.
And achieving a 75% reduction in transportation needs. My initial thought, and the article's author shared this sentiment, was just skepticism. Like how? How is that even physically possible?
It's a perfectly natural reaction, right? It sounds almost like magic.
It does. My brain immediately went to logistics, weight, volume.
But if we connect this to the broader picture of supply chain economics, the math actually starts to make a lot of sense.
Okay, break it down for us.
So USDA Agricultural Marketing Service data shows that transportation typically accounts for 8 to 12% of total milk marketing costs, sometimes more, depending on distance.
Okay, a significant chunk.
Yeah. The McCartys aren't just moving raw fluid milk like most farms do. They're condensing it before shipping it to Danone, their partner.
Condensing it, like evaporating water.
Exactly. Think of it like making concentrate for orange juice, but with milk. They're essentially removing a significant portion, specifically about 75% of the water from the raw milk.
75% of the water gone.
Right. Which drastically reduces its volume and weight. This milk concentrate is then shipped, and the water can be added back later at the Danone processing plant.
Ah, okay. So you're shipping less water.
Precisely. This significantly reduces water weight, which translates directly into meeting fewer trucks on the road, fewer trips, less fuel, reduced labor for drivers, a smaller carbon footprint.
Wow, the savings must be huge.
And beyond the obvious transportation savings, this strategy also allows for much tighter quality control earlier in the chain. They know the quality before it leaves the farm gate in bulk.
Which is invaluable for a premium product, yeah.
Definitely.
And that real-time feedback benefit you mentioned, that's just incredible. Imagine on your own farm getting component results back within hours instead of days.
Game changer. Total game changer.
That means you can make immediate, precise ration adjustments, optimizing feed efficiency, animal health, with the responsiveness most farms can only dream of.
Think about it. If your butterfat or protein levels dip, you know it almost instantly.
Yeah.
You can tweak the diet of specific pens to bring them back into line before it significantly impacts your overall production or your component premiums on the milk check.
That's a huge competitive advantage.
Yeah.
That level of micromanagement and optimization, it translates directly to profitability.
Precisely. That immediate data loop is, well, it's revolutionary for on-farm management.
But
Yes, the but.
this raises the important question, which the article rightly addresses as a reality check. While the benefits are undeniably clear, impressive even, building a processing plant like this, that requires massive capital investment.
Massive is the right word. We're talking anywhere from, $5 to $15 million up front? Easily more, depending on the bells and whistles.
5 to 15 million. Wow.
And payback periods typically stretching between 7 and 10 years. Maybe longer.
And that's just the build cost.
Right. Doesn't even account for the ongoing operational costs, the specialized labor needed to run a food-grade facility, or the complex regulatory hurdles involved in food processing. That's a whole different ballgame.
So for the vast majority of operations out there, especially those milking fewer than, say, a few thousand cows, this specific model, it just isn't feasible.
Realistically, no. The financial barrier, the logistical complexity, it's just too high for most.
And that's a crucial point for our listeners. You read this and think, wow, that's amazing, but I could never do that.
Right. It can feel discouraging.
So the question becomes, what is scalable from the McCartys processing innovation? What can you take away from their approach, even if you're milking 200 cows instead of 20,000 and don't have a multi-million-dollar plant in your future?
Excellent question. And this is where the deeper insights lie, I believe. While the physical plant might be out of reach for many,
Right.
their philosophy and their methodology are highly scalable.
Okay. How so?
What you can absolutely emulate are their methods for data standardization and employee management. Those are the foundations of that efficiency.
Standardization of people.
Exactly. You do not need a multi-million-dollar processing plant to implement consistent protocols across your operation. From feeding schedules to milking routines to calf care. Establish clear standard operating procedures, SOPs, for every key task. Train your employees thoroughly on those SOPs. And then measure performance consistently. Track the same metrics the same way.
Consistency is key.
It drives efficiency. And just as importantly, that deep investment in your people we talked about earlier.
Back to the DEER principles.
Back to the DEER principles, exactly. The McCartys' success is built on their team, not just their technology. Investing in competitive compensation, professional development, a culture of respect that will yield similar returns in employee retention and productivity, even on a much smaller scale.
So focus on the systems and the culture.
Those are universal principles for efficiency, for longevity, for building a truly resilient operation, regardless of size.
That's a powerful distinction, separating the specific innovation, the shiny object, from the underlying principles. That really is a roadmap for efficiency right there.
I think so.
Now, moving on from the operational side, the article also spotlights the McCartys' impressive sustainability story. This really caught the author's attention, and ours too.
It really is inspiring, and it's another testament to their forward-thinking approach. They didn't just wait for regulations, they got ahead of it.
Where did they start?
Well, the article highlights this sand reclamation system developed in collaboration with Kansas State University.
Sand bedding reclamation.
Yeah. For those unfamiliar, sand is a great bedding material, comfortable for cows, inorganic, so less bacteria growth, but it can be expensive and tricky to manage in manure system.
Right. It settles out. It's heavy.
Exactly. Their system is engineered to capture an astounding 97% of their bedding material for reuse.
97%.
Think about that. It's not just about keeping barns clean. It's about significant resource savings.
Right.
Imagine almost completely eliminating the need to purchase new sand.
That's a huge input cost reduction.
And it drastically reduces the volume of manure solids that need to be handled and transported. It's a major win-win. Environment and balance sheet.
And it goes further than just bedding, right? The article mentions cover crops, too.
Indeed. They've adopted cover crops on 95% of their Ohio acres. 95%.
Wow. What's typical?
To put that in perspective, USDA data suggests typical Midwest adoption rates are more in the range of 15 to 20%.
So they are way ahead of the curve.
Way ahead. Cover crops, just as a quick refresher for anyone, are planted primarily to manage soil erosion, improve soil health, enhance water infiltration, smother weeds, help with pest control.
Lots of benefits.
Tons. By covering nearly all their acres, they're significantly improving soil organic matter, reducing nutrient runoff into waterways, which is huge environmentally, and enhancing the overall resilience and fertility of their land. It's a long-term investment in the health of their farm ecosystem.
Makes sense. Plus, their water recycling efforts sound pretty advanced, tying back to that on-farm processing.
Absolutely. It's all connected. The water recycling is directly integrated with their condensing system.
So the water they remove from the milk.
Right. It's first traded, then repurposed for cleaning within the plant. So it replaces freshwater use there.
Oh.
And then rather than being discarded or needing additional freshwater sources for irrigation, that same water is used for irrigation on their fields.
A truly closed-loop system.
It really is. Minimizes waste, reduces their freshwater demand, and efficiently utilizes a valuable resource. All these efforts, they underscore how proactive sustainability isn't just about being green or ticking boxes for compliance.
It's strategic again.
It enhances their social license to operate, strengthens their brand reputation with partners like Danone, and builds long-term resilience against those intensifying environmental pressures and potentially stricter regulations down the road.
So they're building a farm that's optimized not just for today, but for decades to come.
That's exactly how I see it. They're shaping their future, not just reacting to it.
Okay, so if the McCarty method shows us the how of operational excellence and people management, that's one crucial part of our roadmap. Let's shift gears to the what. The tool. Yeah, what new tools are emerging on the genetics and feed front to propel us forward? This leads us perfectly to our next segment, focusing on Juan Moreno and his incredible work in genetic revolution and climate action.
Ah, Moreno. Yeah, really fascinating stuff here.
The article paints this vivid picture of him as a genetics pioneer from ST Genetics. But what really stands out to me, and the article emphasizes this, is his background, actually working on a Colombian cattle operation.
Right, hands-on experience.
It gave him this unique, practical, on-the-ground understanding of breeding challenges. He's not just a lab scientist in an ivory tower. He gets the farm reality.
That practical background is absolutely key to his innovative approach, I think. It means his solutions aren't just theoretically brilliant, but they're designed with the farmer's real-world needs and challenges baked right in.
Makes sense. Like his sexed semen technology. I mean, total game changer, right?
It's huge. The article notes it's now used in about 30% of worldwide AI sales.
30%?
Yeah, according to industry tracking, offering over 90% accuracy in predicting calf gender.
90% plus. That's reliable.
Extremely reliable. And the impact of that technology is profound because it fundamentally shifts the economics and the strategy of replacement heifer management.
How so?
Instead of breeding cows with, basically a coin flip 50-50 chance of getting a bull or a heifer calf.
Right, the old way.
Producers can now strategically breed specifically for heifers with over 90% accuracy. This allows for incredibly targeted breeding programs.
So you get the replacements you want from the cows you want.
Exactly. Minimizing unwanted male calves, reducing the costs associated with raising them, and ensuring a consistent supply of replacement heifers that are genetically superior, ideally from your best dams.
It's about precision in herd development.
Totally. Allowing farmers to accelerate genetic progress and optimize their herd's future potential far more rapidly than ever before.
And speaking of precision, that brings us to genomic testing. This is the part of the article that made the author pull out their calculator, apparently.
Yeah, and for good reason. Because this is where the financial impact truly becomes clear. Let's break down those economic benefits.
Please do.
Genomic testing typically costs around, $30 to $50 per calf? Somewhere in that range.
Okay, seems like an upfront expense.
It is. But recent research, I think it was cited from the Journal of Dairy Science, confirms about 76% accuracy in predicting productive life cycle outcomes.
76%, so 3 out of 4, roughly.
Right. What that means in practical terms is that for 3 out of 4 calves you test, you're getting a very good, reliable picture of that animal's future potential.
Potential for what exactly?
Milk production, components like fat and protein, health traits, fertility, longevity, all the key things. And you get this picture at a very early age.
And those returns are truly significant, the article argues. It mentions annual returns of $75 to $150 per animal.
Per animal, per year.
Through early identification and, crucially, culling individuals with poor genetic quality.
That culling part is key. Don't just test. Act on the data.
Right, so for a producer with, let's say, a herd of 300 breeding females, doing the math quickly.
Yeah.
That could translate to an extra $22,500 to $45,000 in the bank each year.
Potentially, yes. It adds up fast across a herd.
That's not just real money. That's, like you said, the difference between just getting by and investing in new equipment or expanding or just having more financial peace of mind.
It's about making every single resource count. Every stall, every pound of feed, identifying your top performers early and avoiding that costly 2-year investment in an animal that just won't pull its weight down the line.
Yeah, that makes total sense. You're not wasting resources on underperformers.
And Moreno himself makes this really simple, compelling analogy in the article. Honestly, I think every producer needs to hear this and just let it sink in.
Okay, what's the analogy?
He asks, basically, for the first 60 days, a calf costs about $5 per day. After that, roughly $2 daily for feed. Simple enough.
Right. Standard cost.
Then he drives it home, asking, so why wait 2 years and spend $1,400 to $1,500 to find out a heifer's below average when you can spend $30 as a calf and know her genetic potential?
Wow. Put that way, it's stark.
It's a stark comparison that highlights the true cost of delayed decision-making. Not just in direct expenses, but in lost opportunity. You're committing feed, labor, space to an animal that might never provide a decent return.
When a small upfront investment could redirect those resources to your genetically superior animals.
Exactly. It feels almost like a penny-wise, pound-foolish lesson, doesn't it? Avoid the $30 test, spend $1,500 finding out the hard way.
It absolutely is. That analogy really cuts through the noise, emphasizes the value of early data. Now, okay, while this technology sounds amazing and the economics are compelling,
There's always a but.
there's always a but.
Ah.
The article also discusses scalability and some important caveats. The economic analysis cited, I think, from Cornell Cooperative Extension,
Right.
it shows those positive returns from genomic testing typically emerge within 18 to 24 months for operations managing 500 or more breeding female.
500 plus. Okay.
So it's not necessarily a universal fit right out of the gate, at least not yet for everyone.
This raises that important question for smaller operations.
Yeah.
When does it make sense to implement this, or does it ever?
Yeah.
The article acknowledges that for farms with fewer than, say, 200 cows, the benefits of genomic testing, while still present genetically, they may not immediately outweigh the costs unless you first make significant improvements in other foundational management areas.
Like what?
Could be things like perfecting your AI program, ensuring really robust calf health protocols, optimizing your feeding strategies to maximize the potential you already have in the herd.
The basics right first.
Exactly. The idea is that genomic testing amplifies good management. It doesn't replace it. So for a smaller operation, ensuring those basics are rock solid might provide more immediate and significant ROI before layering on genomics.
That makes sense. It's not a silver bullet, but a powerful tool when integrated into an already well-managed system.
Precisely. Strategic implementation is key.
Okay, strategic implementation. Got it. Now, moving on, we absolutely have to talk about his EcoFeed innovation.
EcoFeed. Yeah.
This sounds truly groundbreaking and directly addresses climate action, which is, a growing concern and pressure point for the industry.
Huge pressure point.
It recently won the 2024 International Dairy Federation's Innovation in Climate Action Award. That's a massive honor.
And deservedly so, I think, given its potential impact. What's really compelling here about EcoFeed is its dual benefit.
Okay.
It targets feed efficiency improvements of 8 to 10%.
8 to 10% better feed efficiency. That's significant.
It is. Now, connect this to the bigger picture. Feed represents about 55% of most operations' total costs, right?
Yeah, easily the biggest chunk.
So even modest improvements in efficiency, like 8–10%, translate into truly significant savings on the input side. Less feed purchased, lower costs.
That alone is huge for the bottom line.
But critically, these improvements also lead directly to a reduced environmental footprint.
How does that work?
EcoFeed apparently works by enhancing the cow's gut microbiome and nutrient absorption. So the cow gets more out of every bite.
Okay.
Which means less waste coming out the back end and, importantly, reduced methane emissions, methane being a major greenhouse gas from cattle.
Right. Less waste, less methane.
So for you, the producer, that means not only substantial cost savings on your largest expense, but also a tangible contribution to reducing your operation's environmental impact.
Which is increasingly valuable for consumer perception, supply chain demands, regulatory compliance.
All of the above. It's a win-win. Bottom line and sustainability working together.
That's the sweet spot everyone's looking for. And this leads us perfectly to Moreno's fascinating regional adaptation philosophy. This really struck me. He's quoted in the article saying, and this is direct quote, "I don't believe in the concept of a super cow."
Yeah, that's a bold statement.
Especially from a genetics pioneer who is literally developing the future of dairy genetics. Why does he feel that way? What does he mean by that?
It's a profound statement, isn't it? It challenges this long-held industry ideal, the quest for the one perfect animal, and it speaks directly to the need for tailored solutions in genetics.
Okay. Tailored how?
What's fascinating here is his deep understanding that farmers have wildly different priorities based on their specific situation. Location, climate, resources, their specific markets.
Right. Dairy isn't monolithic.
Not at all. The super cow concept often implies this one-size-fits-all genetic package, usually laser-focused on maximum milk production above all else.
Get to pump out the volume.
Yeah. But Moreno argues this overlooks crucial regional needs. For example, if you're farming in the southeast U.S., where heat stress is a constant battle for months on end.
Brutal heat and humidity.
Right. Genetic markers for heat tolerance might be far more valuable to you than an extra 100 pounds of milk from a cow that just wilts and crashes reproduction in the summer. That cow isn't super for that environment.
Good point. Context matters.
Or if you're a producer running a pasture-based system, maybe in New Zealand or Ireland or parts of the U.S., prioritizing grazing efficiency, feed conversion on forage, maybe foot and leg health, that will yield the best returns for you. Even if it means slightly lower peak milk numbers compared to a confinement cow.
Match the cow to the system.
Exactly. And if you're supplying a niche market that values high protein or butterfat for cheese or specialty products, then component quality becomes your primary focus for selection.
So his philosophy emphasizes adapting the technology, especially genetics, to your specific conditions.
Rather than chasing some mythical, perfect cow that might not even be perfect for your farm, it's about optimizing for your unique environment and your market, making sure the technology serves your specific goals.
So it's about intelligent, purpose-driven genetics, not just blindly chasing raw production numbers. That's a really critical distinction for any farmer considering genetic investments.
Absolutely. It's about being strategic with your genetic dollars.
Okay, so we've explored operational excellence with the McCartys that focus on systems and people. We've looked at cutting-edge genetic and feed innovation with Juan Moreno, tailoring tech to specific needs. Now, what does this all mean for the big picture? The industry stability, the policy framework that underpins everything.
Yeah, the scaffolding that holds it all up, in a way.
Right. Let's turn our attention to our third segment, focusing on Jim Mulhern, whom the article aptly calls the policy architect who built the dairy safety net.
A fitting title.
You know, you might not know Jim Mulhern's name personally,
Probably most producers don't, day to day.
but I guarantee you've likely felt the positive impact of his work on your operation at some point. 45 years in dairy policy, most recently CEO of the National Milk Producers Federation. His fingerprints are all over the programs and reforms that, literally kept operations running during the worst market downturns.
It's a significant legacy, often unheralded, maybe outside of policy circles, but deeply impactful for every producer on the ground.
Absolutely. So what are some key examples?
Well, a key highlight from the article is just how impactful his work has been, particularly with the Dairy Margin Coverage Program, the DMC program.
DMC. Okay, most listeners will know that one.
Yeah. This program alone has distributed over $2 billion since its inception.
$2 billion. With a B.
Think about that for a moment. During crises like the COVID-related market crashes, remember when milk prices just collapsed almost overnight?
Oh, yeah. Scary times.
And feed costs stayed stubbornly high. DMC payments provided critical cash flow for thousands upon thousands of operations.
A lifeline, really.
For many, without that direct support, they simply wouldn't have survived those unprecedented market shocks. It acts as this crucial safety net, insulating producers from that extreme volatility between milk prices and feed costs.
Letting them weather storms that would otherwise be catastrophic.
Precisely.
And the numbers really underscore that impact, don't they? They paint this picture of just how widely adopted and essential this program has become.
They really do.
USDA Farm Service Agency data shows DMC enrollment grew dramatically, from about 18,000 operations in 2019
Right, as it started.
to over 23,000 in 2024. Now covering approximately 85% of U.S. milk production.
85%. That's huge uptake.
These aren't just statistics, as the article powerfully points out. These represent real farms,
Yeah.
families, employees, communities that stayed in business instead of being forced to sell out or go to auction.
That's a tangible, measurable difference for countless individuals and for the overall health and structure of the dairy industry, keeping those farms viable.
Definitely. But Mulhern's impact goes far beyond just DMC, right? The article mentions FMMO reforms, too.
Right. Federal milk marketing order reforms.
Yeah.
And this gets complicated fast.
Understatement of the year.
Yeah. For those less familiar, FMMOs are these complex regulatory systems that establish minimum prices that dairy processors must pay farmers for milk. And it's categorized by its end-use fluid milk, cheese, butter, powder, class 1, 2, 3 fee.
The class system.
Mulhern played a pivotal role in shepherding reforms aimed at reducing milk price volatility within that complex system.
And did they work?
Well, if we connect this to the broader picture, USDA analysis indicates these reforms did reduce milk price volatility by an impressive 8 to 12% in most markets.
8 to 12% less volatility.
Okay. Now, that might not sound like a huge number on its own, but its effects on your daily operations, on your planning, they're profound and far-reaching.
Exactly. For producers like you listening, that 8 to 12% reduction in volatility, it means much more predictable cash flow.
Which is gold, right?
Absolutely. It translates to an easier time with financial planning, making it simpler to project income, manage expenses, less guesswork.
Reduces the need for maybe expensive or complicated hedging strategies, too.
Good point. Frees up capital that might otherwise be tied up in risk management tools you might not fully understand or have time for.
Right. This increased predictability allows you to make more confident, long-term investments in your herd, new equipment, facilities, knowing that your income stream is, well, at least a bit more stable.
These are practical, tangible benefits for daily operations and the long-term strategic health of your farm.
Definitely. Now, this raises an important question, though.
Which is?
Despite the clear benefits of stability that most people appreciate, not everyone is entirely happy with these FMMO reforms, or the FMMO system in general.
Ah, yes, the eternal debate.
The article openly acknowledges the complexities. It notes that Vermont producers, for instance, continue to complain about Class I differentials.
Okay, unpack that a bit. Class I differentials.
Right. Class I is milk used for fluid consumption drinking milk. The differential is a premium added to the basic price, theoretically based on location and transportation costs to consumer markets. Vermont producers, often running smaller grass-based dairies, might argue the current differential doesn't adequately reflect their production costs or market realities, maybe makes their fluid milk less competitive compared to milk going into manufacturing like cheese or butter where the pricing is different.
Okay. And Western operations have issues too.
Yeah, the article mentions Western operations often questioning the fluid milk pricing mechanisms more broadly, especially concerning how transportation costs are factored in over vast distances. They might argue their distance from major population centers puts them at a disadvantage, that the system doesn't fairly compensate them.
So lots of regional tension.
It truly highlights the inherent challenges in crafting policy for such a geographically and operationally diverse industry. What works in Wisconsin might not work in California or Vermont.
And the reform process itself, as described in the article, it certainly wasn't pretty or easy. Sounds like it was a battle.
Oh, yeah. Months of intense stakeholder negotiations, regional conflicts, competing interests, fluid versus manufacturing, big versus small, co-ops versus independents, all battling it out.
Leading to compromises that,
Frankly, satisfied no one completely. That's often the nature of compromise in policy.
it's a stark reminder of the immense difficulty in creating policy that works equitably for every single segment of such a vast and varied industry.
Absolutely. Where what benefits one region might genuinely be perceived as or actually be a disadvantage to another.
But despite that dissent and the inherent difficulties of getting everyone to agree, the producer perspective highlighted in the article really emphasizes the core value here.
Right. That quote.
Yeah, the article quotes one co-op chair who said, very simply, "Predictable beats chaos in my mailbox every time."
That just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it?
It really does. It encapsulates the trade-offs involved, and why, even with ongoing debate and imperfections, these efforts to establish a floor of stability are so vital for many producers.
For many, that foundational security, the ability to plan with at least a little bit of certainty, outweighs the desire for maybe perfect pricing or the theoretical ability to hit every market high. It's about managing that downside risk, avoiding the catastrophic lows.
And that's really the key takeaway from Mulhern's extensive work, it seems. Even with all the debate and acknowledging you can't please everyone in such a complex system,
Impossible task.
these policies aim to provide a fundamental layer of stability and a crucial safety net. And for long-term planning, for the simple act of staying in business year after year, that foundational security is absolutely crucial.
It allows producers to focus more on what they do best, producing milk efficiently, caring for cows with maybe a little less anxiety about the wild, unpredictable swings of the market. It's an essential part of that roadmap for resilience we're talking about.
Okay, so after all that, we've covered the McCartys' revolutionary approach to operational efficiency and people. We've looked at Juan Moreno's cutting-edge genetic and climate innovations, and Jim Mulhern's extensive work building the policy architecture, that safety net.
3 distinct but interconnected pillars.
Exactly. Now, the million-dollar question for you, the farmer listening today. What's the key takeaway? How can you take these big ideas, these macro strategies we've discussed, and actually apply them to your own operation, whether you're milking 20,000 cows or 200?
That's the most important question, right? Bridging the gap from Expo award winners to everyday farm reality. And the good news is these principles are far more scalable than you might initially think.
Okay, how? Let's start with the McCartys, standardization and people.
Right. Applying the McCarty lessons. You don't need a multi-state operation to implement consistency. Start small.
Small steps.
Maybe select just one health protocol. Maybe your standard procedure for treating mastitis, or your calving assistance protocol, or one feeding schedule for a particular group, like dry cows, or one breeding strategy for first lactation heifers.
Pick one thing.
Pick one thing. The key is to implement it consistently across your facility. Create clear, maybe even written, standard operating procedures, SOPs. Designate who's responsible for training on it, and then track the same metrics the same way.
Measure it.
Measure it. The power isn't just in the protocol itself, but in the consistency and the data it generates. That allows you to see what works, what doesn't, and make informed adjustments.
Makes sense. And the people part.
And critically, invest in your human capital, even on a smaller scale. Remember those workforce studies, operations offering competitive benefits.
Not just wages.
Right. Wages matter hugely. But also think about health insurance options, maybe a simple retirement plan, opportunities for professional development, sending someone to a workshop, maybe, and clear advancement paths, even if it's just taking on more responsibility. These things show you value your team.
Builds loyalty.
Exactly. It helps build that stable, productive team where individuals feel valued and see a future, not just a job. Even small gestures of recognition or opportunities for skill development can make a huge difference in retention on any sized farm.
Okay, so consistency in process, investment in people. Got it. Now, what about leveraging Moreno's genetics insights? That felt maybe a bit more high-tech.
It can feel that way. For Moreno's genetic strategy, the takeaway isn't just go out and do genomic testing tomorrow. It's do it strategically.
Strategically, how?
Well, if you're managing 200 or more breeding females, the economics, as we discussed, usually work out pretty favorably within that 18 to 24-month time frame. The ROI is generally there.
Okay, so scale matters for that specific tool.
It does influence the payback period. But the key here, and this is where Moreno's no super cow philosophy really comes into play for everyone,
Right.
is not to chase every single new genetic marker just because it's the latest shiny object on the market.
Don't get caught up in the hype.
Exactly. Instead, meticulously analyze your environment, your herd-specific challenges, your market demands, what traits actually make you money or save you money on your farm.
Tailor it.
If you're in a region battling heat stress, then genetic markers for heat tolerance, maybe slick coat genetics, should be paramount in your selection. Forget chasing that last bit of milk potential if the cow can't handle the heat.
Right.
If you're pasture-based, prioritize grazing efficiency, feed conversion on forage, maybe udder depth and foot health, things that work in your system.
Components if you're in a cheese market.
Precisely. If you're supplying a market valuing high protein or butterfat, then component quality becomes your primary focus for genetic selection. It's about optimizing for your unique challenges and opportunities.
Not just adopting technology for adoption's sake.
Right. And for smaller operations, maybe below that 200 cow threshold where genomics might seem pricey up front, start by optimizing your existing genetic program. Better record keeping. Careful sire selection using proven indices relevant to your goals, not just the highest TPI. Ensure your herd health and reproduction are top-notch first.
Build the foundation.
Build the foundation. These things will make genomics even more impactful if and when you decide to adopt it later. It's about smart, targeted genetic progress.
That's a great point about tailoring the technology. It makes it much more accessible. And finally, what about utilizing Mulhern's policy tools? How can producers make the most of those safety nets, like DMC?
For Mulhern's tools, the advice is actually quite direct, I think. View your dairy margin coverage premiums, the $0.05 to $0.20 per hundredweight you pay, depending on the coverage level you choose. Don't look at it as just another cost, another bill to pay. View it as a strategic investment in your business stability.
Like insurance.
Exactly like insurance. It's a form of risk management that provides a crucial safety net, especially when you consider the insane volatility we've seen in milk prices and feed costs in recent years. It buys you peace of mind to some extent.
And it's not just DMC, right?
Critically, no. Operations that actively use multiple risk management tools, so maybe DMC combined with other options like futures contracts, options trading, maybe dairy RP insurance, other private insurance products.
Layering the protection.
Yeah, layering. Those operations actually show 12 to 18% less income volatility over 10-year periods, according to some analyses.
Wow, that's significant smoothing of the income curve.
It really is. It means you're building a more robust financial foundation that can weather the inevitable market storms. Allows you to plan for the future with greater confidence. Don't put all your risk management eggs in one basket. Layering different tools provides more comprehensive protection.
Okay, so treat DMC as an investment and layer different risk management tools. Got it. So when we look at the bottom line across all three of these areas, McCarty, Moreno, Mulhern, it really boils down to this fundamental concept, doesn't it? Proactive versus reactive change.
That feels like the core message, yeah.
We know these pressures are coming. In many cases, they're already here. and intensifying. Environmental pressure demanding more sustainable practices.
Check.
Labor markets tightening further, requiring smarter employee management.
Double check.
Market consolidation accelerating, pushing for greater efficiency. Consumer preferences constantly shifting, requiring adaptability in what and how we produce.
Absolutely.
And climate variability, demanding more sophisticated risk management and resilient practices from all of us.
It's the reality of 21st century dairy farming.
So this raises that important, maybe even urgent question for every producer listening right now. Will you help shape this change, or will you simply react to it when it hits you?
It's a critical question to ask yourself. These three leaders we talked about, the McCartys, Juan Moreno, Jim Mulhern, they didn't just wait for change to overwhelm them. They chose to be proactive. They leaned in.
Right.
Their recognition at World Dairy Expo isn't just an award for past achievement. It's a testament to the immense value of that forward-thinking, strategic approach. They built resilience before the crisis hit, not just responded afterwards.
And what's truly empowering, I think, is that the same opportunities exist for you, the producers willing to think strategically about the future of your operations. It's not necessarily about being the biggest,
Not at all.
but about being the smartest, the most adaptable, the most prepared. It's about taking those principles we've discussed today, investing in people and standardizing processes, strategically adopting relevant technology, proactively leveraging risk management tools, and applying them thoughtfully to your unique farm, your unique situation.
Absolutely. You don't have to do everything at once. Pick one area. Start small.
So maybe pour yourself that next cup of coffee.
Or tea.
Or tea, fair enough. Take a thoughtful walk through your facility. Look at your records, talk to your team, and start thinking about what your next chapter looks like. What's one small, actionable step you can take this week, this month, to begin shaping your future rather than just reacting to it?
Because the dairy industry's future doesn't just depend on, big corporate decisions or government policy alone. It depends heavily on the strategic choices being made right now today in operations just like yours every single day.
Well said.
Great points. And that looks like all the time we have for today's deep dive. For more articles and insights like the one we discussed today, be sure to visit www.thebullvine.com.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bullvine Podcast. We hope today's stories inspire and equip you to navigate the evolving dairy landscape with confidence. Remember, blending traditional values with innovation is key to long-term success. Subscribe for more no-nonsense insights from the heart of the dairy industry. Until next time, keep milking, keep learning, and keep thriving.